soon enough, we're going to have events again with the set 10 Whispers in the Well legal, and then we'll go back to doing deck profiles the way you guys really like it, where we break down lists that are performing, common cards, common ratios, techs, and the deck core. But today is not that day. Today is actually Fun Deck Friday. It's something I want to try and do just every Friday. We're going to come at you guys with a fun deck, and today, in honor of Whispers in the Well release, hip hip hooray, right? Everyone's excited. It is your local gaming stores. It's release day. Let's go get our cards. Best of luck on your pulls. We're going to do Ruby Steel Gargoyles. And I'm not saying this is the ideal Ruby Steel list. Again, it is Fun Deck Friday. If this is something you like, come back next week. If you like other type of stuff, don't worry. I have all kinds of stuff planned for you guys, as well as a regular schedule that I'm working on and will have posted in the community tab probably within 2 weeks once I get all the details hammered out. But again, today we're doing Ruby Steel Gargoyles Fun Deck Friday. Last time I'm going to say that. In the 1-drop spot, playing 8 cards, there is 11 uninkables in the deck. I was playing the Mulan shift line as well, but then I ended up taking it out because I was trying to get the list down to the nitty gritty, get back down to 60, and at the end of the day I wanted to leave the gargoyle stuff in there because that's what we're doing. We're playing gargoyles, right? You know, if you want to play the good gargoyles, you can absolutely play a Ruby Steel list where it's less focused around all of the gargoyles in general and just use the better ones as you see fit. That's absolutely something you can do if you would like. Also, next week I will be going over the player survey. If you want, the link is down below. Feel free to contribute to that, but don't feel obligated at all. In the 1-drop spot, we're going to start it off with the new Tinkerbell, who is a 3-1. And why Tinkerbell shift line over the Mulan shift line? Well, I feel like late game Tinkerbell on its own just is a little bit more threatening than a Mulan on its own coming down. In addition to that, well, sure, fire the cannons or anything of that sort takes out Tinkerbell, but when Mulan already has 2 damage on her 3 willpower, it does to her as well. So same boat there, but this one swings for 3 as opposed to 2. Both are going to lose out on their first challenge. Both offer a nice little shift line. The shift 4 on Tinkerbell, though, is very, very nice. Then the 4 captain hooks, challengers, so you can swing for 3 as well on your turn. Then going into our 2-drops, our second new card, and it is Mr. Smee, but he's uninkable, but he does not take a damage in the end of your turn, neither, regardless if you have a captain or not. It's a 3/3, 2-questing, uninkable 2-cost card, so playing it at 3 because, well, you can challenge into things with the body, or you can just be a threat questing for 2 each turn. We do have a handful of songs, and well, Powerline helps shore up the deck and fit some gaps that we could use. So being a singer 4, because you have Strength, you have Thunderbolt, you have Be King, there's lots of cards that your Powerline can sing and get very strong value out of a 2-drop spot for you. So we are going to go ahead and play 4. Now let's get to the good stuff. Some new cards, some gargoyles, some good stuff like I said. Another 2-drop, opting for no dock. I was going to play a couple. Most of my steel decks this format, I found myself cutting dock down to like a 2 of, which I'm 100% okay with. I reluctantly ought to always play 4 because you have to in past formats. But man, it's like, it feels like you either see 3 or 0. There's no in between. And many dock players will agree with that sentiment. However, we're going to go with Hudson this time, where it's not the same as dock. I'm not going to lie to you. Drawing 2 obviously is better than drawing 1 and discarding 1, but just helping with a little consistency, being able to fix your hand, being a gargoyle, fitting the theme, and a 2/4 body isn't necessarily a bad thing neither. The 3-cost spot, Bronx. I actually really like this card. It's a 6/4, and you might be like, well, he doesn't get to ready himself. I'm not too worried about that, I guess. He's a 6/4, and it still sticks as a body on board for strength in the future turns, unless your opponent's going to swing into it or do something to it. So they're going to lose a character or a card trying to remove it if they want the body for strength off the board. And plus, as the game gets down to it, we have things like David Xanatos, where you can discard a card and deal 2 damage to another character, which can help get your hand size lower, Obviously we're going to hint get to Goliath, where once again you're going to be able to control your hand size, which means Bronx is going to ready, and being a 6'4" body is just incredibly strong. Lastly, those 3 drop spots in the second row, because there are more. Hermes, harried. Is that harried? That's just, I don't know. It must be a word I'm not too familiar with. It looks like harried messenger, unless there's just a way for harried there. Anyway, enough rambling. It's a 3/3 inkable 3-cost rush character. Just being able to play it from your hand, rush into something, and especially with other cards in the deck, like Mushu, being able to, 1, have resist, and 2, just swing into something and get 2 lore, just like that, is going to be very nice and effective. We already kind of mentioned David Xanatos, but it is an on-play effect. You can choose to discard a card, deal 2 damage. Like I said, so if you go like Bronx on 3, turn 4, you challenge Bronx into something, you play your David Xanatos, you discard a card, you deal 2 to something else, and possibly just took out 2 characters. Now you can go ahead and, you discard a card. So maybe your Bronx can go ahead and ready himself. And let's look at another option here, right? Like you get to deal 2 damage to chosen characters. So if you look at something, say Tiana, right? You have Bronx and you challenge into Tiana. Well, guess what? You don't pay the 3, you get the -3, so you deal 3 damage to it. You play your David Xanatos, you discard a card, you deal 2 more damage, you take out Tiana. Just a nice little way to clear her while still developing your board and putting threats down. Do I think Tiana's going to be a big threat this format? No, I do not, but it's a nice little play line that can piggyback together to take out threats like her. Lexington. This card is almost a 4 of in all steel decks. Just the alert mechanic is so strong, and being a 4/4 body is very good. Obviously, the Stone by Day effect on these cards is a way to tone back because they are a bit overstated, like Bronx being a 3-cost 6/4, Lexington being a 4/4, Goliath being a 5/5. These are very overstated cards with great abilities, so they need some type of drawback, but they play very well into that. There are a lot of actions in the format, so I do have 2 Pete in there. Some people say like a deck like this doesn't need it, but I like the ability for Pete, because if you're not quite ready to get to that next step of the game, if you buy yourself a turn so you can ink, play Pete, and go that route, I think that it helps a lot, like just to play around like the Prince Philip line, otherwise the like Spooky Sight line can just blow you out if it's a well-timed Spooky Sight. So I do like Pete in there still as a 2 of. And then we get to the first Goliath. Like I said, he's an inkable 5/5, which is just absolutely insane. And whenever one of your Gargoyle characters challenge another character, gain a lore. So kind of like Mushu, we're gaining a lore when we challenge. Mushu, obviously, for everyone, but during your turn, whenever one of your character banishes another character in a challenge, gain 2 lore. So slight difference here. Goliath is whenever they challenge. Mushu is whenever they banish. But let's say you have Bronx on board, right? Then you turn 4, you go Goliath. Turn 5, you have Mushu. Bronx challenges into something, has resist 2 because of the Mushu. And then also, because you challenged, you get 1 lore for Goliath. And then if you banish it with 6 will or 6 strength, you probably did, Mushu nets you another 2. So in other words, your Bronx can have resist 2, and you get 3 lore for challenging and taking things out. I really like the conjunction there with Goliath and Mushu, and the fact that it's 4 cost, 5 cost, just that you can fit your curve. It feels really strong, just being able to on curve answer and play into cards like that. I am running 3 of the Shift Power line. Again, we have a handful of songs in here. Little Power Line's a great singer, and just being able to sing something like Beyond the Horizon by himself is very strong. Or like you shift, you sing, say, a Thunderbolt, and then you get to look at the top 4 and potentially play a B King or a Strength or another Thunderbolt or a Beyond the Horizon for free. It's very strong value, and being a 6/4 body also helps. I know there's cards that play off the strengths of your characters. I mean, we do have Bronx with 6, Goliath at 5, Power Line at 6, Goliath at 6. But I don't know, like a lot of our characters are 3/4 strength, so I didn't want to commit into a role like that. But then we get to the other Goliath, and this one, probably the more common one that people are aware of. At the end of your turn, you discard down to 2 cards, or you draw up to 2 cards. This is a card that, 1, keeps your hand full, and 2, controls your opponent's advantage, and 3, allows your Stone by Day ability to essentially get played around by controlling your hand size. 2 Tinkerbells then just rounding out the character lineup. And then as our songs, 4 Strength, 4 Thunderbolts, that's going to be pretty standard. 4 Strength will be in Steel List. Thunderbolts going to be like a 2 to 4 of in most. Be King, because Uninkables we're not too high on. I do have the 2 Pirate's Life. It just feels weird to not play a Pirate's Life, but this is one of those cards that you probably could cut. I like it just as a sacky card to sneak away some wins. A way to slow down the aggressive decks a little bit more. Not that this deck doesn't handle them already, but I do kind of like Pirate's Life still. In this exact list, I guess it's probably pretty cuttable, and I'd maybe play another Horizon or even Be King to 3 if I were to go that route, and then just Beyond the Horizon being another way to get card draw and keep your hand size. I actually like this deck. I think that what it offers is a fun little way, and outside of what cards are going to be expensive, Diablo's not going to hold that price point. Hudson's common, Bronx is common, David's uncommon. You got what? Mushu's not going to go anywhere price wise. Goliath at 35s. Does Goliath stay? Goliath is probably going to stay at 20 or higher. Maybe 35 is a little bit high, but at the same time, it very well could go to 40 at the same time. I'm going to say like at minimum 20, but don't count me as saying, oh, you said it was going to go down to $20. I'm not saying it will. I'm saying I don't see a world where it goes below 20, and it very well could creep up a little bit. So outside of the Goliath, though, this deck is really not going to be expensive at all. It's going to be like a $50 deck in total, minus the Goliath. So if you can get your Goliath, absolutely play it. I have seen some people playing just like the 2 big Goliaths. I personally think it's a 4 of, but if you want to just play the 2 for budget reasons, absolutely. Then you can go ahead and put in like another Beyond the Horizon and I don't know, Big Tink or any card you want, or just play a couple docks in place of those 2. You'd still only be at 13 on Inkables. But anyway, that's it, guys. Gargoyles. Next week we will do, I don't know yet, maybe Pirates. Maybe we go like a location Emerald Ruby Pirate location deck, see how much Daisy gets your Pirates drawing when they're at those locations. It's actually a pretty aggressive strategy. We'll see what we come up with, but thank you guys for watching. As always, like, share, subscribe, and comment down below.